Okay, welcome back to the EIC Summit, to our fourth pitching session on software as a service for consumer companies. I'm happy to have 4 companies here in this session, selected by our jury members who are joining on site and online today. Thank you, everybody, to join us today. The VCs and CVCs that have selected the companies today are among the most important investors in Europe, so we have a great jury today. And before we start with the session, I want to quickly explain the rules for this session. So we have 4 companies pitching. Each pitch is 5 minutes long, followed by a 3-minute of Q&A session by our jury members. If you are a jury member joining online via Zoom, we ask you to use the raise hand function if you want to ask a question. If you are on site and have a question, just raise your hand here, and we give the floor to you. We ask you to ask the questions very straight, and also the entrepreneurs to answer very straight, as we have limited time. And it's very important for our online participants to rename yourself so that we can see your name and company, that we see who is here. And I'm very happy that we have so many investors present today joining our Zoom session online. And before we start, I want to introduce the 4 companies. We have Cabot today, we have Databacon, we have Tap Water, and we have You Are My Guide. And here's the overview of our jury members in this session. We have Balderton Capital, we have the Xperia Venture Fund, we have representatives from Prega, from Crowberry Capital, from the Borsky Fund, Venture City is here, NGP Capital, and LeadX Capital Partners. And I hope you enjoy the session. I want to hand it over to the first company, which is Cabot. And Stefano, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well? Hello. Yeah, I'm not receiving any feedback, but I hope you can hear me. Otherwise, you can, stop me. Hello, everyone. So as we speak right now, 6 out of 10 businesses in Europe are still away from the cloud. It's a huge market, and 96% of cloud storage users are not yet premium. Loss of privacy, high price to pay. That's what blocks them, they say. But why does the cloud imply such 2 problems? Well, let me introduce you. Centralized data centers. But do you hear this? This is the sound of our money getting wasted. 70% of what we pay for cloud services is actually spent on maintenance or CapEx. Not only, we must accept to transfer the ownership of our data to a third party we can control anymore. I am Stefano, the CEO of Cabot, and we are the first data centerless cloud provider. Cabot's peer-to-peer software allows people's devices, just like my laptop or your computer, to self-create a distributed cloud to protect our data. So our proprietary technology never centralizes all of your data in one place. Files are encrypted, fragmented, multiplied, and then distributed. This is what makes Cabot zero knowledge. We cannot access your files. It's mathematically impossible. Zero knowledge ensures privacy by design. But most importantly, we save 40,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions per petabyte every single year. No more energy waste. So here's our business model. We crowdsource a distributed infrastructure and reward the contributors with free cloud. Then we sell the most competitive B2B cloud services on the market, from cloud storage to hosting to content delivery network. And in doing so, we generate a 60x markup. Managing 1 terabyte on our network costs us €2 per year, but we can resell it for up to €120. Here's an example. Our first product is a sync and share cloud service. It is free if you contribute with your gigabytes, while the others pay €5 a month or more. Want to become a contributor? With 1 click, you'll soon be able to recycle the spare storage on your computer. But to accelerate our go-to-market, we created the Cabot Cell. You connect it to your Wi-Fi router and you're good to go. We already sold more than €1.5 million and secured our first 6 petabytes to prove our distributed cloud model. And on the other hand, our B2B strategy focuses on digital sovereignty. In 5 years, is the data of European companies going to be all saved on American or Chinese servers? Well, the answer to this question is worth billions. And we are the only European company developing a distributed cloud. This is why we are part of Gaia X in Brussels. We're now working with Lincoln, a telco with 1 million customers, to embed our software directly into 5G routers and IoT systems. And with the CERN in Geneva, we are developing on-premises solutions, which are ideals for institutions with sensitive data. That's why we've generated 100,000 euros of ARR from 30 companies that are about to use our on-premise B2B cloud suite solution. In the meanwhile, the need for cloud storage is literally booming. Everybody's producing just more and more data. And unicorns are emerging like Wasabi, even if they're still based on traditional centralized technology. But our shareholders invested in us because we are disrupting data center economics with zero CapEx and minimum OpEx. And Techstars was the first to show the potential of us four co-founders back in 2018, when we became the first Italian startup they ever invested in. The European Union then gave us a 2 million euro grant to finance our R&D. So we could start growing our team, which now counts more than 40 members, with also sales experts from D-Link and the same Dropbox too. We have just closed our first tranche of Series A round, where Techstars reinvested and the largest VC funds in Italy joined. These same investors have already committed 2.4 million euro more that will be invested as a convertible note in March next year. They are ensuring it this way to get a discount on the next Series B. In agreement with them, we're opening up the same opportunity to 1 or 2 international VCs for up to 2 million euro more. In this way, we can boost our B2B growth over the next months and count on more partners for the incoming Series B, which we plan to close in 1 year time with the support of EIC Accelerator. We are Cabit and we are scaling the first data centerless cloud provider. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefano, for this great presentation. Very well done. I ask our jury, do we have any questions to Cabit and Stefano? And we have a question from Christian from NGP Capital. Christian, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the great presentation. I'm just curious on the margin profile, maybe I missed it. And also as part of that question, if you copy and duplicate files, does it mean you have a higher cost basis than if I would just have a single cloud strategy?
Okay, sure. So very good question. The reason why we make such a big margin, that's the reason why our investors join, is that basically we're giving new life and extracting the fair market value of underutilized internet resources that are already present in our devices, whether they are home devices, personal devices, or in the office, right? So you can imagine how many spare gigabytes there are out there in, server racks from companies just like NAS for users. And managing, since we have no intermediate data center, we cut down the capex and the opex, which means it is super cost efficient for us to manage, let's say, 1 terabyte over the network. Our software costs are about €2, but that same terabyte we can resell it for up to €120. And then the reason why we make redundancy in a distributed way is because it's very efficient. So going back to the multiplication and backup, the cool point is that we basically we split the files in 24 pieces and we make 36 redundant copies out of that, which means a 1.5 increase rate in the space we occupy on the network. But the cool part is that you need any subset of 24 pieces out of the 36 to retrieve your file. That means that if randomly some nodes goes offline, you're totally okay, you're gonna refund your data. And we have developed so many lines of code, actually more than 600,000 lines of code, which is more that you would need to send a space shuttle to space in order to make a sophisticated backend technology that monitors the network and optimizes it.
Okay, I'm checking. Do we have additional questions? Okay, James Hook, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, thanks for the presentation. I thought it was really good. I guess my question really focuses on the go-to-market strategy. Can you talk a little bit about how you win, on the one hand, the users in the crowd, and on the other hand, the businesses that are going to end up using this service?
Sure. So basically, thank you very much for your question. So basically, our vision is to, tap into every cloud service market that could benefit from distributed infrastructure. Of course, for example, it is very easy for us to understand. Everybody, I would say, use Netflix. The content delivery pain that, streaming high quality video, or, sending out millions of software updates. If you are a big company with millions of users, you want them to download the last version. It is really a big pain, right? So we really see in 10 years time, which is the time frame where, a VC usually invests and want their big return from, we really see so many, implementation of our technology. But why did we decide to start from the consumer, and why did we decide to start the class? Because it was the leanest thing to do. It was the most, the easier addressable market. Consumers, the best early adopters, they just, go there, test the technology, make it grow, make a network effect. And we decided to start from the cloud storage in a single share shape, because that is the service line that benefits referral rate in the industry, in the line industry, because you actually use the service in order to share files with somebody else, right? So this is why we decided to start from the consumer. But our technology is now ready, finally, it's mature after we invested a lot of money and effort and nights in order to make it work at a mature level for enterprises. This is why we just launched the on-premise configuration, where we're reproducing our technology within the devices that the companies have, and there's a huge amount we're so happy about how.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefano. We are out of time. Thanks a lot for answering the questions. One important thing
it was my pleasure. Thank you.
One important thing I want to mention is the one-to-one meeting session we have on Monday to give the online participants also the chance to meet our companies. So if you are interested in meeting any of our companies today, like Cabit, just follow the link my colleague Marcia is sharing in the chat, and then you can book a meeting for Monday. If you're not available on Monday, no worries, we're happy to connect you with the companies. And if you are watching our broadcast, you unfortunately can't click on the link, but we will share an email address at the end of the session, and then you can just write an email if you want to book a meeting with any of our companies. And with that said, I hand it over to our second company, Databacon, and I think it's Paula presenting. So Paula, take it from here.
Hello, do you hear me? Yes, hello. So my slides are ready? Yes, great. So thank you for the opportunity. This is Databacon. We are developing and deploying breakthrough artificial intelligence tools to empower the aviation industry. In Europe, air traffic control costs 8 billion euro every year, but generates 2 billion euro in delay cost for airlines, producing unnecessary carbon emissions. We are now turning this worldwide problem into an opportunity by creating the first AI digital assistant for air traffic controllers, level 5. Air traffic management is a very manual process. The airspace is divided into sectors and controlled by air traffic controllers. When the traffic grows, these sectors are subdivided and more controllers are needed. But controllers are highly qualified staff with a very slow and expensive training and certification process. All this makes the system non-scalable. So by leveraging on technology and cloud computing capacity, level 5 is sold all included: data, cloud computing, 5G device, and the AI engine. All these complementing as an open AI architecture the current limitations of the legacy systems with monolithic applications, local equipment, hard to evolve, no assistance. Our technology stack has 3 elements. Best, the cloud computing infrastructure for machine learning. Level 5, the AI engine for controllers, for which we recently submitted a patent, and Victor 5, a web-based user interface that complements the ATC console running on an independent screen. Our customers are the air navigation service providers all across the world. They manage an annual budget of 32 euro every year globally. The 30% of this correspond to the salaries of the controllers and 15% to the technology that they use. This relation between personnel and technology expenditure is expected to get inverted in the next decade. Concretely, there are 86 air navigation service providers all over the world. Focusing on the top 45 of them, we could be addressing the 80% of the worldwide air traffic. We already have established sales contact with half of them. This direct contact with our customers, plus the perfect understanding of the market, and establishing a strategic partnership with key industry players that we have already started, are the core of the pillars of our sales channels. We plan a progressive introduction of automation services in order to gain trust in our technology. In 2020, we got an EIC grant, and we are already working with one customer in Europe. We have completed 3 validation trials with their controllers, and for 2022, we have signed an agreement to perform live trials in the operational rooms while working with their national authority. This will allow us to enter in the market in 2023 with the first safety features, the automatic conflict detection, and the identification of non-conflicted traffic. We will then gradually introduce additional layers of automation at a revised price per flight hour. Now is the perfect moment to address this market. Financial crisis, making the market demand higher automation and faster innovation. On the other hand, recruitment processes are frozen as of today, meaning that current resources are not enough to serve pre-pandemic levels. So we will have a problem when the traffic recovers, because training new controllers is very expensive and is very slow. It takes typically like 2 years. And finally, the aviation authorities have AI and digitalization as top priorities for them. So now is the perfect moment, and we have the latest technology to disrupt this market. But we need to be first in it. We want to introduce the market, to introduce the product into the market by 2023. So this is why we are raising funds, in order to grow our team, in order to scale up our sales force, and in order to perform additional live trials to ensure certification and approvals in different parts of the world during 2022. We already have a great team, 15 people, engineers, controllers, machine learning, visualization experts, and we also count with the support of 4 very senior advisories. So thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. I'm now ready for questions.
Thank you very much, Paula, for the presentation. And I ask our jury if we have any questions for Paula and Databacon. Okay, I hand it over to James. James, please go ahead.
Yeah, I can imagine that this market is highly regulated and that the end customer is probably quite risk averse. How, in that context, do you convince them of the value add of your solution?
Yes, as you say, so as we explained during 2022, we have approved these live trials, and the live trials need to go together with a safety case. So the air navigation service provider, they are interested in the product because of all these reasons of scalability, of the limitations of resources that we have explained. So then they have to prepare a safety case, and that safety case needs to be approved by the regulator. The first approval is the challenging one. It's the one we are addressing for next year. Then typically other aviation authorities are, let's say, rely on other authorities if it has been previously approved. But it depends on the use case particular that needs to be together with a safety case in order to define how the product will be used in operation in particular. And this is precisely why we plan a progressive introduction of automation. So at the first stage, we will not be using our product by the executive controller, but by the supervisory controller, the planner controller, which is a layer which is less critical from a safety perspective. So the regulation of the certification requirements are much lower than if it's used by an executive controller.
Okay, Stefan, you have a question as well?
Yes, at first, thanks for the presentation. I was wondering if you have any outcomes on efficiency currently with the live trials already? Or is it more focused on the safety at the moment?
Yeah, the trials by now have been validating that the conflict detection, so the automatic conflict detection, meaning that continuously the tool is capable of, let's say, measuring the distance between two traffic and anticipating a conflict in traffic and advising the controllers. This is what has been validated. Let's say it has been verified, the performance, but the live trial in the operational room, it's part of the 2022 exercise that we will be starting in January.
Okay, thank you very much, Paula, for answering the questions. Time is over, but if anyone wants to meet Databacon and Paula in a meeting, please schedule something through the link in the chat, and we are happy to connect and set up a meeting for Monday or somewhere else. And we now stay in Spain, and our next company is Tap Water, and I hand it over to Magnus. Magnus, good luck.
Thank you. My name is Magnus Jörn. I'm one of the co-founders of Tap Water. Can I get the presentation up? Is it? Okay. And we're currently doing a €2.5 million round, and I will tell you why and how. It's actually not moving the presentation, so please move it forward for me. So our vision is really to eliminate plastic waste from bottled water. There's about 500 billion bottles produced every year, and we want to have a great impact on this. So our goal is by 2026 that we will replace 10 billion of these, which means 2% of that total market, which would mean creating a €1 billion business in the water space. Next one. The problem that we're trying to solve is that a huge amount of people worldwide consume bottled water. In Europe, it's around 60 million households, worldwide over 500. And it's difficult to fix this because like in Europe, the issue is primarily taste. In other countries, it's about bacteria and contamination and so on. And we haven't seen, so despite all of the attention to plastic pollution, there's been very little change in this increasing. And we believe one of the reasons for this is water filters really haven't addressed the consumer needs. It's a traditional space, not much innovation. And we believe there's going to be a tipping point in the next couple of years in the same way as there has been in electrical vehicles, solar panels and other things. And when that happens, we're going to be the ones to make sure that there's a big shift in the market. Next one. So our solutions, and this is what differentiates us, are really about simplicity, so simple to install and use, great taste and health, affordable, typically based on subscription, so you don't need to worry about it, sustainability, and longer-term connectivity. And we've launched it as the world's smallest faucet filter, kind of like a Spotify solution, which costs us €9 per month for great tasting tap water. Next one. We've already sold over 100,000 products. This is primarily in Spain and in Barcelona, where we have 2.5% household penetration. 9 out of 10 people say that the taste is as good as bottled water. Most of them choose subscriptions. We have great NPS scores. They recommend it to us. And if we look at our impact, we've already replaced over 60 million bottles of plastic. And our belief, as I said before, is that over the next 5 to 10 years, at least 50% of households would transition from bottled water, which means that if we can only capture 10% of that market, it's a 300 million business for us in Europe. Next. Our business model, as I said, is primarily yearly and monthly subscriptions, but we also send standalone filters both through retailers and Amazon. So we see that as a seeding market. And our net LTV at the moment is approaching €100 with a customer acquisition cost of about 25 or below 25. And we believe that the LTV will go up over time because ideally people should be using our products forever. Next one. Competition-wise, our main competition is bottled water. So it's the big companies like Coca-Cola, Nestle, and Danone. And the advantage of our product is that it saves money, it's more convenient, it's healthier and better for the planet. But we also have Brita and BWT as competitors. Brita has a 90% market share in Europe, so very dominating in this space. But we believe our products have more compact designs, better flow rates. They're for digital natives, so a lot more innovation there. And then there's more traditional products that are complicated to install. Next one. We do about 2 million euros, a little bit more this year, and our plan is to accelerate our growth with this new funding, and we should reach 50 to 100 million euro run rate within the next 4 or 5 years. We already have 1.5 million euros committed of the 2.5 million, so looking for 1 million. Next one. We have an amazing team that have a proven track record of growing and building 10, 20, even 100 million euro businesses. So we're confident that we can do it with the team. And finally, next one. So in summary, why should you invest in us? This is a huge market. We've proven early success. We already have great distribution that is just getting started. We have an amazing team that has a track record of doing these things. It's a great impact. Yeah, we're going to be profitable, and we already have a lot of acquisition offers. So we're confident that this is going to be a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magnus, for the great presentation. I hand it over to our jury again. Do we have any questions for Magnus and Tap Water? So we're checking. Okay, James again, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought it was an interesting presentation, a really interesting product. I can see my own family using that. I guess the obvious question which you probably get asked is, activated carbon is a pretty established technology for cleaning, air or water or whatever. What are the real technological advantages of your product? Where are the barriers to entry, stopping others coming in and copying what you're doing?
So one of them is that this is all about building long-term trust. Like Brita is the dominating company because they've been building up trust in this market for the last 40 years. So for us, it's all about making sure that our products are independently tested, all the claims that we make are supported and continuously optimized for taste and better filtration. And really make sure that we're using the latest technologies. Like historically, Brita, for example, they launch a new product every 10 years. We're actually launching a new iteration every 6 months. So the change and improvements are much, much faster. And there's a lot of things happening here with nanofiltration materials, new materials that are efficient in removing all kinds of contaminants and especially improving the taste. And also the eco-friendliness is another big thing. So things like making sure that the activated carbon that we use is from organic coconut shells and other things. So a long range of things.
Okay.
But in the long term, it's all about building brand trust and being a European company is a huge advantage here because actually there's only a few of the companies that are European based. Most are China based.
Okay, thank you very much. We have time for one more question. Okay, Helga, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you for an interesting presentation. I was just wondering, is there any legislation that will help you in the future? Do you foresee that there will be any legislation personally, I buy mostly bottled water when I go to restaurants and they're like waiters really pushing me, would you like still or sparkling? Because I know it's a revenue source for restaurants. So do you think there will be legislation like where people are required to drink more tap water or use water sort of more wisely?
We would certainly hope so, because it seems like that's the only way that this is going to change. Because the thing is, retailers make so much money from this, and so do restaurants. So they're going to continue to push it for as long as they can. So the only way we can really get rid of this stupid thing, because bottled water is so easy to replace. That's the nice thing. So yes, we definitely hope so. And we also hope that there will be legislation around standards of filtration, because today the only country in Europe that actually have some kind of certification is France. So we're hoping that there will be a European standard that also means that companies have to live up to a certain level of standard with regards to filtration and materials and all.
Okay, thank you very much, Magnus. Time is over. So if any of our investors wants to follow up with Magnus and tap water, you can now follow the link in the Zoom chat to schedule a meeting for Monday. Or if you're not available, just let us know and we're happy to put you in contact with the company. And then we already move forward with our last company for this fourth session. And I hand it over to Esther from Italy from You Are My Guide.
Good morning. Can you hear me properly? Yes. Thank you, Paula. I see you in the small screen. I will start immediately then. Thank you once again for being here today. I'm Esther Liquori and I'm the CEO and founder of You Are My Guide. The slide that present my company, Ghostwriter AI, is our solution that analyzes customer conversation analytics. So we all of us knows that customer journey is today becoming even more complex and with a lot of touch points to monitor and that produce value, but companies are difficult to catch. With Ghostwriter AI, we help companies identify the value inside the conversation, analyzing the data and getting those elements that helps them to attract new leads, scale and increase their sales and marketing activities. In our amazing journey of most of 7 years now, we have been supported by our investors to focus on our technology core that is based on natural language processing. In the meantime, we've also been supported by amazing key partners, really vertical in the AI space, such as Intel AI Builders, NVIDIA, and we are also part of the focus group for AI in the European community tables. Some of our customers are major banks or retailers in the world. And what we do for them is analyzing their conversational data to capture new opportunity, as mentioned. The data, the conversational data can come from many different sources, could be chat, could be email, social networks, CRM, phone calls, whatever, that are unstructured data that we are able to transform in valuable insight. Thank you, our services such as data enrichment, speech analytics, semantic search, and chatbot API. But let's go a little bit deeper inside the use case to let more clear what we do. For example, CaixaBank want to make their campaign, their advertising campaign, more appealing, more personalized toward their customer needs. And analyzing the data, we enrich such information coming from the customers to better help them to address the right kind of communication and get obviously more return on investment in their campaign. So basically, customers give us omni-channel conversation, and we are able to provide them conclusion, action, what to do with this data. Our model is an analysis as a service model that brings us revenue through a setup and a monthly fee. Compared with our competitor, we are really able to cover the whole customer journey, going from the attraction phases through conversion support and obviously deployment of our solution. The deployment part is really important because it's where we are able to also compared to the others, provide multi-clouds deployment on premises and on device, ensuring a higher level of security of the customer data. Who we are me, that I'm the CEO, and Mauro, my other co-founder, Mauro Benici, the CTO, the minds behind our algorithms. Together with us, our fantastic team and a distributor in the United States. What we're looking for growth and exploding our business, covering and helping even more customers across the Europe and the United States. For that, we are looking for funding that we will allocate mainly in business development activities. And now I'm open to all your questions about what we are doing.
Thank you very much, Esther, for this presentation, and I hand it over to our jury for any questions. Okay, we're checking. Okay, Stefan has a question. Stefan, please go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation. I would like to get some more information on what the basis of information is, what you're using. Is it all information coming from the company, or is it also open source information?
Thank you for your question, Stefan, because it's really important. We both manage the internal data of the customers and the external data. So we are able to find and reach the customer information with the new data coming from open sources, social networks, and so on. Obviously, managing with the appropriate level of privacy and security all the data that we get. That's why we make data synthesization, and our data are not can be backward to the people that has shared their information.
Okay, Christian has another question. Christian, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks so much for the presentation. I was just curious, the market is quite crowded already, globally speaking. You showed a lot of competitors, even open source approaches like Rasa AI and so on. So I'm just curious, when you talk to your customers, what is the reason here for them going with you, and what is the differentiation long term for you?
Thank you once again. Another interesting question, because as a matter of fact, as mentioned, we are able to cover the whole customer journey, and usually open source, but not only open source solution, but even proprietary solution, usually deploy on cloud or at the maximum level of security on premises, with the possibilities of installing on device our solution and analyzing locally what the customer has as data. We enable our customers to keep in their hands the solution and the data and the outcome that we are able to provide them.
Okay, we have one more question for James Hook.
Hi, James.
Hi, yeah, thanks for the presentation. It was really interesting. I guess I have two questions. Do you see the value in the technology, in the algorithms or the learning data? And secondly, in terms of the learning data, which I tend to favor when I look at these types of things as the real area of differentiation, is it something that you can share across clients? Like, can you learn about how consumers consume things across different sectors or different areas of the consumer universe, or is it all individual to one client?
Thank you. Wonderful questions today. Yes, learning algorithms are a great value because, as we know, everyday conversation changes, everyday trends in the possibilities of the market changes. So customers are every day changing their mind and approaching the same products, same services in a completely different way. So it's really important from the side of the companies to understand where the market is going on, and from the side of the consumers being addressed by something that really may be in their interest, because we know this crowd communication even for the customer's side. And as regards the sharing of the learning and the information, is a little bit crossed, because obviously the models increases knowledge from the various conversation and from the various experiences and approaches that the algorithms themselves are doing. However, everything even stays at the level inside the customers, because everyone keep his data, everyone has is a particular kind of vocabulary to approach his business, and this is the really up to the customers. So this is the value that stays inside the customers and never go out.
Okay, thank you very much, Esther. Time unfortunately is up. Thank you very much for your presentation and answering the questions. If you want to follow up with Esther and you are my guide, you now have the chance to fill in the formula again for scheduling additional meetings. We are at the end of our fourth session already, so thanks to all the participants online and on site for contributing to this session. We have some more sessions today. After the lunch break at 2 p.m. we talk about MedTech and eHealth solutions, but we also have some upcoming EIC events. We have one more online session, an e-pitch on mobility and transportation on December 9. So if you want to join there, just let me know. You can see my email address here. Also, if you want to join any of the other sessions, I'm happy to invite you to those as well. If you are watching the broadcast right now, you can also send me a message, an email, if you want to meet any of our companies today for our online session on Monday. Just send an email, let me know. We are happy to schedule something or connect you with the companies. With that said, thanks again for participating in this session, and hopefully we see you later for the MedTech and eHealth session. Thank you.